So before we jump into today's session, tell me a little bit about some concerns and questions you have about your assignment for today's appointment.
So I wrote this paper for my criminal justice class. It's focused on eyewitness testimony in criminal cases. So I used case studies and scholarly research to support my claim. But I guess turning in found a lot of plagiarism.
Oh, I see.
And the professor's been going on about plagiarism and AI specifically. I heard about it on TikTok, AI, and I agree with my professor, plagiarism and AI is bad. I would never. But anyway, this right here, this is the part, or one of the many parts that Turnitin says that I plagiarized. It's one of my paraphrases. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot of highlight, especially for this section. Was there anything different that you used for these sections that could explain?
Not really. I mean, I did use a paraphrase generator.
Gotcha.
And then I copy and pasted that and put it into my my essay, but that's not really plagiarism. That's just condensing information.
Well, when you use any sort of platform that generates writing for you, then it's not your words. So Turnitin will highlight it since it recognizes an AI system, regardless of what platform created it. So even if you're not using ChatGPT, it's going to recognize an AI system wrote it for you.
Even if it's just summarizing, and I mean, I read the articles and the cases. I just didn't have enough time to really sit down and write all of that.
Yeah.
So I figured it'd be okay, just summarizing.
And, it's understandable, especially because as students, we have a lot of time. We don't really have a lot of time, actually.
Yeah.
So even if it's just summarizing the information, it's still considered plagiarism since you did not create these words yourself. Let's look at this paragraph right here.
Okay.
So you see all these highlighted sentences.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. And it's saying that it's directly found from this source. So
it didn't change anything.
It didn't change anything. So now you kind of know moving forward not to use any sort of AI platform since you're not 100% sure it's going to change the wording for you.
All right, that makes sense. So I didn't know that was considered plagiarism, so I will definitely keep this in mind for next time. Yeah. Thank you. All right. So before we jump into the session, I'm curious. Can you tell me some stuff about your paper? Like, what are your concerns, your questions?
Well, if I had to be honest, I haven't really given much thought about this paper. It's an argumentative essay for this novel for class. The professor said if I just came in, he'll give us like extra credit. So I was wondering if you just read it and tell me what's wrong with it.
All right. Okay. All right. So I see already in your first paragraph that you do a really great job of hooking the reader into your essay, but I'm not seeing a clear thesis statement. What did you want? What's your thesis statement for this paper?
What are you gonna do?
Well, we can look at your body paragraphs, and then we can kind of see what you said and come up with.
Can you just write it for me? I can't keep up.
Well, I can't necessarily write it for you, but we can collaborate together, and we can approach it that way. And again, we can look at your paper and see what you are saying and come up with words that together that will give you your thesis statement for this paper.
Okay. No.
Yeah. All right. Or would you feel comfortable reading out loud?
Yeah, I'm
want to take
fine with
turns?
it. Yeah. You want me to go first?
Sure. Absolutely. Go for it. So before we jump into the session, tell me a little bit about the concerns and questions you may have about this, things you want to work on for today's assignment.
Yeah, so I'm working on this essay for an English class, Intro to Creative Writing, and we just did a peer review of our essay about making everyday life into something extraordinary. For my essay, I focus on grocery shopping, but I use fantasy elements to make it seem like I'm an adventurer looking for ingredients for dragon soup. But when I got my feedback from my classmates, they all said it was fine and I shouldn't fix anything. But when I just don't feel confident in their feedback.
Okay.
So I came in because I wanted like an extra pair of eyes to see if I like need to fix my sentence structure or add or take away something for to really tell my story.
All right. Well, I completely understand. I do have to say this sounds like a very interesting, fun assignment.
Thank you.
So let's just take a look and see what you've come up with. You know, this is actually a really good first draft.
Thank you.
And I love your approach to it. Can I ask you where exactly do you think that you're lacking? Where and what is it?
Yeah, I just don't feel like there's not enough imagination to it. Like word choice or like creating individual scenes to really give the story that I'm looking for, but I just don't know where to like pinpoint it exactly.
Okay, well, I guess we can adjust the beginning parts of the story where you start at the grocery store. So, like, we can change Rayleigh's to a different, more imaginative kind of a name, especially for a store selling ingredients for dragon soup. So that way, we're right into your fantasy already. So maybe that can be a little improvement to this already a great first draft. So.
Yeah, I love that idea. I feel like that makes more sense. So like, I just like I couldn't figure it out. Thank you.
Right. No problem.
So, before we jump into today's session, tell me a little bit about some concerns or maybe some questions you may have about your assignment for today's appointment.
Oh my gosh, well, let me tell you, getting here was nuts. Traffic was crazy. People don't know how to merge on the freeway or even in town. And so it's just frustrating to deal with that at like 8 in the morning. Right. Plus, parking is so bad here. People don't know how to park on the street. I can't parallel park. So it's like, God, what a way to start this semester. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, I can totally relate. The beginning of the semester is always pretty crazy.
Yeah, like, right? Like, oh my God, it's insane, really. I mean, just like this paper. Right. Just like this paper. I've been working on this for English class, and the instructions are super simple. It's like examine a book and find some societal implications portrayed in the book during its time. Of course, I mean, you know the drill.
Right.
But, find evidence that supports my claim for the next, or for the text and other sources. Well, let me tell you, I got a B. I got a freaking B on this paper from the professor because I guess I didn't incorporate enough in-text citations to support my claim.
Right.
But that doesn't make sense. I already have like my secondary sources to back up my claim. Each source I incorporated explains why my thesis is one way that you can interpret this.
Right. Yeah,
Like this professor doesn't know what they're talking about. They just don't. He says one thing and then he says another thing and like, come on, stop giving mixed signals, bro. I low-key feel like he doesn't like me. Like it's fine, no one needs to like me, but like don't come for my GPA, like thankfully this is the only draft in the finals due at the end of the semester, but still it's just frustrating, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, I completely understand you're frustrated. I know every professor has a different approach, so I don't want to say he dislikes you. I feel like he mostly sees your worth and wants you to achieve your full potential. Let's take a look at the paper together, right? Let's see some of the suggestions that the professor left so we can work together. And if there's some parts that we're both confused on, I would suggest you email the professor or
if he answers,
or visit their office hours so that they guide you through their grading rubric, and we can work on it next time you come in, if you choose to come in.
All right, that makes sense. I mean, it's not like a horrible grade, but I want an A, and in this class, I just want this A for this class. I want my GPA. So maybe coming here, maybe the teacher will see how much of a dedicated student I am. Yeah. I don't know. It's just I'm still just I can't believe it. I want to graduate. All right, well, thank you for sharing your first fives, everyone. Let's turn our attention to the rest of the session. Here you go, Joy.
Perfect,
It's
thank you.
your turn this week to write the agenda.
All right. What does everyone want to work on today?
I've got half a draft and some eyeballs on it.
I actually need to catch up on some of the class readings before I can write anything for the assignment. I guess I'm kind of behind, so.
All right, that's fine. And Joy, how about you? What are you adding to the list?
I actually need to work on my draft. I have like half the intro done, and I know the professor wants like half the draft done by Friday. But I have a good idea of what I want to say. I just need to write it. But when I'm done, can you look at it?
Oh, absolutely. Add that to the list. And it sounds like a plan. But our agenda is looking a little different. Everyone's doing some different stuff, so which is completely fine. So while Soleil is doing the reading and Joy is writing her draft, I think I'll just look at your paper, Andrea, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
And if
All right.
anyone's got time, I'd appreciate you guys' feedback too.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And also, if anyone needs help, feel free to just ask me or anyone in the moment. And in 10 minutes, I think we'll come back together, and Joy might want to share some stuff that she wrote, and Soleil might want to talk about some of the stuff she's been reading. Is that okay? Is that good?
Yeah,
Sounds
Yeah?
good.
All right.
sounds great.
All right. Thank you everyone for sharing your first fives. Let's turn our attention to the agenda for today.
Oh my gosh, wait, guess what, everyone? The professor just graded the second draft. I just got the notification and they gave me an A+. Like, yes. It's giving academic Barbie. Even the comment they left was super nice. They literally put that I have definitely improved since the first draft and that they're excited to see the final outcome. Like, isn't this a slay or what? I'm telling you, this week has been on my side. All this manifesting I've been doing, it's been working. Like, everyone, I promise. Having a positive mindset and attracting good energy is all it takes. Plus, a little tutoring also helps.
Well, thank you. And I'm glad that you had such great comments from the professor. That being said, I hope everyone does well in their second draft. So what does everyone need to focus?
Wait, what did everyone else get?
Well, I got an A-, so I'm chilling with an A right now in the class. So I'm not worried about anything.
Yes, it's all about the good vibes. Honestly, it helps too when the professor is super chill and cares about our writing.
No, yeah, like I feel like in high school, like high school teachers didn't really focus on that. We're just more like worried about getting us out of there.
Right? Like, oh my gosh, don't even get me started on my English teacher in high school. Pardon my French, but they were.
Well, I'm sure they had a lot of stresses going on since we just had the pandemic not so long ago. But if we were to reel it back for today's session, Andrea, what are some focuses that you want to work on today? Matthew, Soleil, how about you guys look at each other's teacher feedback, and I'll check in just a couple of minutes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Hey, is everything okay?
Yeah, just kind of overwhelming in the group setting, kind of.
Yeah, I totally understand. Is there anything that you want to work on today?
I do wanna work on my Canvas post. It is due by the end of the day.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about it.